we'll start, Dave, here in the AFC. What we will do here is we both need to make arguments for who we think is going to win, and this will be our official Film Grinders playoff bracket. So we will start here, Dave, with your New England Patriots against the Chargers and a very beat-up offensive line and Justin Herbert. Dave, all bias aside, who do you have in this one? Are you committing to them?
Absolutely. I've committed 30 years of my life to this team. I'm not going to stop now. No, I'm going Patriots. I think they're just flying too high. I think the offense has just looked way too good, electric, dynamic. McDaniels, Drake May. They just look too good. Defense is very much in the kind of doesn't look the same, but it's in the Belichick mold of bend, don't break, and they're doing just enough to not break and not lose the game for them. We are also quite banged up on defense. Robert Spillane, Harold Landry are both were missed time last week, and we're hoping that they'll come back. Chaseon's kind of banged up as well. But I think if we can get those guys back, hopefully, that'll be enough. The Chargers offense doesn't scare me at all. The Chargers defense brings me some trepidation, but I believe in my guys. I think Patriots take this one.
I will agree with you. I think that the Chargers offensive line is so beat up that the defensive line of the Patriots is absolutely going to get after Herbert and make his life misery, especially the interior of this defensive line. I think this will be a game where it's really close for about 3 quarters and then New England pulls away late. I'm going to say it's about like a 10 to 12 point victory for New England, where it feels like down the stretch they're fully in control, but the Chargers are going to play their ass off like they always do, won't be able to pull it off, and New England is going to move forward to the next round. So no arguments there, Dave. Here's a weird one.
And
I say this as a Jags fan. Huh?
And Nick, let's put our bias aside here.
I'm absolutely going to. This is a game where I think it can go one of two ways. If the Jaguars can make Josh Allen just look good, I think they win this game. But I also see a path where Josh Allen plays absolute hero ball and wills this team to victory. I think a big thing for Jacksonville is I think they will be able to make the Bills one-dimensional. They have one of the best rushing defenses in the league. I believe yards, they are number 1, but I think there's not that many attempts on them. Really like Campanelli's defense, and I think they'll have a good plan for Josh Allen. And I don't really like this Bills defense. They're holding on by McDermott doing everything he possibly can to make them somewhat viable. I really think the Jaguars receiving core is going to exploit their secondary, and the Jaguars offensive line has been playing really, really good against some good teams with good pass rushers, minus last week against the Titans, where it's the Titans, but big win against Denver, who had a great defense, and their offensive line was able to hold for the most part other than the first 2 drives. So I can see a path for both teams here. I think the Jaguars are the overall much better team, and Trevor does have a little bit of playoff experience. And I do think with Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines, Allen, they're going to have just enough on defense to slow down Allen, and they'll be able to stop the run. So I am going to pick the Jaguars in this one.
Yeah, I'm really torn. I'm back and forth on this one. But I think what it comes down to, everything you just said, we're going to get into what's right with segment later, where I break down the Jaguars offense. I really like what they're doing on offense, and I really like the way Trevor Lawrence is playing. And sometimes when you just, like in hockey, you get a hot goalie going in the playoffs, and that's exactly what you want. In the NFL, you want a hot quarterback going into the playoffs, and it's tough to make an argument that there's a QB hotter than Trevor Lawrence right now. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville as well. And we are not biased on this podcast at all.
No, absolutely not. This matchup right here, I think this is a pretty obvious one. Um, Steelers have made the playoffs, got to 10-7.
That's it.
I think it's over. It's over for them. Like they don't have anything on offense really. Jalen Warren is fine, and Rodgers is still pretty solid, but they don't have a receiving core. They have DK Metcalf, and that's pretty much it. The rest of their guys are okay. There's no real great or diverse playmakers there. I think this is Houston is going to overwhelm them on defense. Rodgers is going to have no time to throw the ball. The Texans are going to be all over them, and if their offense is average against the Steelers unit, I think they win. And this could be honestly, this could be a blowout. I think this could be a 14 plus point win for Houston.
Maybe you're right. I think I have the exact opposite kind of feeling. I think this game will end up being a lot closer than we think it's going to be. I think this is actually going to be a very I think this is actually going to be a very boring game. But I think you're right that D'Amico Ryan's defense is just going to make Rodgers so uncomfortable, and for a guy who's very adverse to getting hit these days, or at least that's kind of how we're seeing it. I think Houston takes it. I think it's like a teens to a high teens to a low teens or to 10 points game. So I think Houston takes it in a boring.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was gonna be like 24-10, but Houston's just in control the whole game.
Yeah, I could see a game like that too.
That's kind of my feeling.
Yeah.
Easy win for Houston. All right, divisional round then. Texans Broncos. This is actually an interesting matchup. Man,
I think there's no question. I think Denver takes it. They've been they look dominant. I don't want to say dominant. That's not the right word I want to look for. They're a team that until someone shows me that they have a playbook on how to beat them, I'm going to pick Denver. Bo Nix is doing enough and is kind of being carried by a supporting cast, but when the rest of your cast is A's and you're playing at a C+, that's fine. I don't think Houston has the horses quite yet to compete with that defense. I think Denver takes this pretty easily, if I'm being honest.
I think this would be a really tight game. I think with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. on the edge, as good as the tackles are on the Broncos, those two are more than mobile enough to keep Nix in the pocket and win one-on-one. I think game would come down to CJ Stroud. If he can elevate the Texans offense, I actually think they could win. Now the question is, can he do that with how good this Broncos defense is and how poor their offensive line is? So I think it would come down to Stroud having to play hero ball, but I think the safe choice here is Denver. I will agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be closer than most people think. All right, here we go. Our teams going head to head.
You're about to see a match.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think if this happens, I think Jacksonville would win. Mm-hmm. I think they have more talent on their defense than New England for the most part, other than secondary. But Jerry Jones is playing at a very high level right now. I think the Patriots, I think they lack a lot of playoff experience, and I feel like this would be the game against the Jacksonville team that's super hot, where things might come back down, crashing back to earth. If Trevor stays this hot, as good as the Patriots have been defensively, I feel like this would be a game where I just feel like Jacksonville would win this one. I just think they have all the right tools on defense to defend Drake May and the Patriots offense. None of the receivers in your guys' secondary, I think, scare me at all for what Jacksonville has in their secondary. And as far as defensively against Drake May, I think Campanelli would have a really good plan to be able to kind of hold May in check. And I like their matchups there too. So I would actually pick Jacksonville in this one. I don't think the Patriots are ready quite yet.
Yeah, well, fuck you. I think the Patriots. No, I think that the gas is running out for the Patriots. I think they're going to they're already kind of beat up, especially on defense. And on the offensive line, I think the way the Chargers play is just going to beat them up even more, and not getting that first round bye is going to kind of bite us in the ass a little bit. I think it's going to be a really tight game. I think it's going to be very entertaining,
Yeah.
but I think we're just going to see Drake May try to like drag this team on all fours as they're in an injury cart forward. But I think Jacksonville, it just looks a little more rested, a little more hot. I think you're right. I think Jacksonville probably takes this one.
Yeah, it kind of feels like New England is plateauing at this point, and Jacksonville is elevating currently and playing at the top of their game. So, um, again, I'm a very pessimistic Jaguars fan, and if my mouse would actually work, here we go. But I think the Jags make it to the AFC title game against the Broncos. And here's an interesting one, right? The Jaguars obviously beat Denver on the road earlier this year. But as Indiana Hoosiers head coach Kirk Cignetti said about Oregon, as they are about to play in the college football playoffs, really hard to beat a good team twice in the same year. We'll let you go first here, Dave. What do you think about this if this happens?
I think what this game will come down to is coaching and playoff experience. And as much as we have said and given the flowers to Liam Cohen and the great job he's done there, I think between the experience of Sean Payton, Vance Joseph, and Joe Lombardi, I think they're just going to have their guys ready to go. I think New England's going to beat up Jacksonville a little bit. I think Buffalo could beat up Jacksonville a little bit. That first round bye is really going to be a big thing for Denver. I think just with experience, coaching, and when you go down the kind of list and you're like, okay, who are we giving the edge to? I think Denver just ends up too much on the intangibles of being on the winning side, and I'm going to go Denver.
Yeah, I think this is where the clock would strike midnight for the Jaguar Cinderella story. Um,
Good one.
yeah, like I agree with everything you said. I think if they're healthy and don't get beat up too much, I actually think they win this game. But I don't know how plausible that is with two really tough games against really tough competition that play really hard. So, yeah, like I think Denver makes it here to the Super Bowl. All right, so Denver is our team out of the AFC. On to the NFC, and Dave, we were kind of talking about this before. I feel like there's not really a chalk pick here. Like you could say, yeah, the Rams are going to beat the Panthers, but the Panthers handily beat the Rams earlier this season. So I don't know if there's a chalk pick here. We'll start at the top half of the bracket here. Bears, Packers. These teams have played twice. Both games have been awesome, kind of come down to the wire, especially the last game between these two with the onside kick recovery. Game is in Chicago. Nothing better than a Bears-Packer playoff matchup. I'll go first here. I think Chicago wins this game. I think they have the makeup of a good playoff team. I think Caleb is starting to come into his own. He's not quite there yet, but he's starting to. If he doesn't mess this up, I think Chicago wins. They can pound the ball at will. They're in front of their home crowd and they play good defense. Jordan Love is returning, but continues to be coming off of injury after injury. And this Packers team doesn't seem to be elevating themselves. They've kind of plateaued a little bit. I'm going to pick the Bears here. I think they win.
Yeah, I think I was completely against you until you reminded me that Jordan Love has kind of been in and out of the lineup and has been dealing with injuries this whole time. I think that very similar things to what we said earlier. It's tough to beat good teams repeatedly in the same year. And I think Green Bay just has kind of more experience in this. And if we go down the intangibles list again, or the list again, I think I give the nod to Green Bay a little bit more. I think Caleb's looked great. I love what Ben Johnson's done. Well, look great. We'll put in quotes, but you know what I'm saying. He's looked decent. Unfortunately, I think I would like to say I think he chokes, But you bring up a really good point about Jordan Love. I think he limps and carries this team to a win. I could be talked into Chicago winning, but like I'm not pounding the table for it. I do think Green Bay takes it though.
Okay.
But I can go Chicago.
All right. Well, we got to come to a conclusion here, Dave.
Talk me into it.
Well, I think for one, Chicago has shown in critical games they can pound the ball. It's going to be an outdoor game in Chicago that better suits Chicago's game than Green Bay. Green Bay can run the ball a little bit, but they're not. They're more of a finesse zone team compared to Ben Johnson's scheme, where you're trying to pound the ball down a team's throat. I don't think Green Bay's defense has looked the same since Micah Parsons got hurt. They've been okay, not great, and I think it depends what version of Jordan Love you get, right? There's moments where Jordan Love looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and then the next play, he throws a crossbody pick and ends your season, right? So, um, I think everything is going to be put on Jordan Love in this one, but I think Chicago is going to have the luxury of not having to do that with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, you talked me into it. Let's go. Let's go Chicago. Okay.
Chicago moves on. Here's a really interesting one. Niners, Eagles. Now, if they were fully healthy just because of how dysfunctional and lost Philly has looked this year for the most part, I'd probably pick the Niners. But as we kind of mentioned on the primetime game, this Niners team is worn down. They're very injured. They don't look like they're firing on all cylinders because of that. They just don't, and as well coached as they are, and Shanahan always puts them in an insane position to win. Like, this is a team, Dave, that we were very wrong about. We thought they'd be an 8-win team this season.
Yeah.
They have fully exceeded expectations. I really think Kyle Shanahan needs to be in Coach of the Year conversation, all things considered. But I just think there's been too much that has happened to this team where, as dysfunctional as Nick Sirianni's Eagles have been, they have so much talent and they're not really beat up or injured right now. I can't really see a path where San Fran wins this game. I just can't.
No, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like we're seeing two teams kind of limp their way into the playoffs at this point. I think both kind of running on fumes. If they're not running on fumes, their train is very much trying to keep themselves on the tracks. And when it comes to two bad, we're still in the playoff picture here. When it comes to two bad teams, I'll typically pick the home team just for the advantage. But when that home team just very obviously has like more talent to will their way into a victory, I'm going to pick them nearly every time. So I'd agree. I think Philly takes this one. It's going to be a boring game, I think. It's going to be very low scoring.
Yeah.
But I think Philly does enough.
All right. Rams, Panthers. You were very adamant about this one off screen, Dave. Carolina is at home. I think they have the tools to pound the ball with Rico Dowdle and company. Bryce Young has looked pretty good, actually, especially in the fourth quarter. Man, this guy is actually pretty unreal in the fourth quarter. He's really found his game. I don't think they have the talent to pull this one off. I could see a path where this happens. They've already done it this year, right? But I think because this has already happened, I think the Rams are even more locked in than they normally would be, and that's at a very high level with Sean McVay, right? So I don't think this happens twice in the same season. I think the Rams pull this off, but I think it is a lot tighter than people are going to think. I think this is a one-score game.
Yeah, I think the Rams take this one. I think you have a guy who's playing at an MVP caliber level with Stafford. His O-line's been playing lights out. He's got a couple of the best receivers. Puka Nakua's obviously elevated himself to top 5 conversation, if not top 3. I think they're going to be locked in. I can see a path, like you said, for this being a much tighter game. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think that the Rams run away with this game just out of sheer willpower, talent, coaching, and just being locked in, knowing what it takes to get to a Super Bowl and win it.
That's fair.
I just think the Rams take this one, and the fact that they really want to go to Seattle.
Fair enough. All right. Rams, Seahawks.
Plus, I just like
Seahawks have looked. Huh?
Plus, I just like the storyline. Like, this is the divisional matchup we want to see.
Yeah, fair enough. Rams, Seahawks. These teams split this year in their season series. Seahawks with that crazy come from behind victory, the one of the only good Thursday night games of the year. This is an interesting one. Seattle's going to be rested. Obviously, their defense has been playing at an insanely high level, and their offense has been good this year. I'm really worried about how bad Sam Darnold has looked against this Rams defense this season. I know he turned it around late in that game, but he did get a lot of help from special teams and his defense. I think the Rams upset the Seahawks here. This is kind of like do or die for Matt Stafford for his career. Like, he probably only has a couple years left. He's still playing at a super high level, but he's 40 now. Like, he's old. Is he? No, he's 40. Yeah.
Great question.
39?
Keep yapping. I'll bring it up.
Okay. This is one of his last seasons he's going to play. I think this Rams team has a lot more playoff experience than the Seahawks do. I think this is a game where I can see both paths. If Darnold has truly overcome those mistakes against this Rams defense, I think Seattle wins this game in a tight one. But I'm leaning more towards I don't see Darnold getting that much better. And I think if you turn the ball over as much as he did in the games that he's played the Rams, there's no way you can win a playoff game.
Yeah. Stafford's 37, so not quite.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I was way off.
No, way off. But you're right, and we can only judge guys based off their previous body of work and where they're at right now. And Stafford's still playing an elite level. He knows how to win playoffs, go to Super Bowls, win Super Bowls. Whereas Darnold, this year, we've seen him struggle against the Rams, turn the ball over a bunch. And if we look at the playoff game for Minnesota last year, if he gets pressure, he seems to kind of shrink into himself in these big moments. And despite how great the rest of the Seahawks are playing, I just think that the Rams got it at this point. We look at the coaching. I think Sean McVay is a better coach at this point. And
I think it's closer than you think.
Maybe, but I really like Sean McVay. So I think for all the reasons you said and more, I think LA takes this one as well. But it's going to be a super interesting game to watch.
All right, Rams move on to the NFC Championship.
And our boy Sean can
Bears, Eagles. Bears, Eagles. In Chicago, obviously Philadelphia is the more talented team. Chicago is better coached.
This is a tough one.
I don't know if I trust. This is a tough one because I don't really trust Caleb Williams for a playoff run yet. I think he's going to get there one day. I just don't this is his first playoff run. I don't think.
Yeah. But do you trust the Eagles right now with what you've seen from them?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's I don't know if I trust Jalen Hurts right now either.
No.
And this very static, boring Eagles offense. I feel like Philly has too much talent to lose this game. Jalen Hurts can go 9 for 22, but 3 of those passes are an A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith huge play that turns into putting them in scoring position or scoring, and they managed to do just a bit more despite it looking super ugly until those big chunk plays. I'm gonna take Philly here. I think they find a way to squeak it out just based on talent alone.
Yeah, I would agree. Not just based on talent alone, but playoff experience. I don't think the lights are going to be too bright for this team at this point.
Yeah.
They're coming off of a Super Bowl win. Jalen Hurts knows. Even Nick Sirianni, who we like to clown on repeatedly, they do know what it takes to get to a Super Bowl. Yeah, I just don't think that Ben Johnson nor Caleb Williams are quite there yet. It's been a great season for them. They deserve all the flowers in the world, but eventually the tank runs out.
Yeah,
Clock strikes
it's a young
midnight, I should say.
team. Yeah, it's a young team. It's kind of their first glimpse of the playoffs, and they'll build on it and learn. And will probably be a contender in the NFC if things continue for a long time because they got a young quarterback, young head coach, and yeah, I like it. Let's go to the Rams. They head to Philly in this bracket. I think the Rams win this one and get revenge from last year with their loss. The Eagles, to me, I don't see them fully catching their stride and being up to what they were last year. Even um, I just don't see it. I think they kind of eke out those 2 wins. I think they get lucky that the Niners are very, very injured and kind of on the plateau, while just having a little more playoff experience than the Bears and eking one out. And then I think the Rams are firing on all cylinders, and I think they win. I think they'll still be somewhat close. I'd say like a 10-point win, but I think they win this one on the road.
Yeah, every game we've said for the Eagles so far has been like limping their way in, kind of willing their way to win based on talent and experience alone. They're not flying high like the Rams are. I think the Rams are going to be, if the Rams do this playoff run, they're going to be full momentum ahead, head full of steam, catching lightning at the right time, and I think that's just going to be a tough one to stop. I mean, we have talent, we have experience, and we have momentum. I think between the three of them, having all three, Rams take this over the Eagles as well.
A Broncos and Rams Super Bowl. Bo Nix against Matthew Stafford. I don't even really need to think about this one too hard, Dave. I think if Stafford makes the Super Bowl here with this talented and experienced Rams team, the Rams are going to win this one. I don't. If these two teams play each other in this game of this magnitude, this is Bo Nix's first time kind of being in this situation. He didn't. He didn't even. Did Bo? I don't think Bo ever made a playoff game at Oregon. I think they lost the Pac-12 championship game to Washington, which moved them down the rankings, and then he never actually made the playoffs. And then the year prior, they lost to Washington at home. I was at that game, actually, which eliminated them from playoff contention as well.
Mm-hmm.
Believe so. I should definitely know that as an Oregon fan, but I'm blanking right now. So I don't like.
You're right.
Bo
Though.
hasn't really played on this.
Like you're right.
Yeah. He hasn't played on this stage yet. Obviously, Sean Payton is an experienced coach who has won a Super Bowl back with New Orleans. I feel like this Denver team kind of lacks playoff experience for the most part. I think the Rams are more experienced, are just as talented, with a good influx of veterans and young talent. And you have the better quarterback and arguably run game here. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, we look at back when we were talking about Denver, we were kind of talking about these games are going to be tough to win, and it's going to come down to Denver's defense really kind of carrying this team. And what I kind of just said about the Rams is if they go on this playoff run, they have a full head of steam. They got their lightning. They got their swagger back. Oh. That's an older meme if anyone can get that.
If you're a football fan, you should get it.
I got my swagger back. Oh.
Swear?
But I mean, you look at these games, they're just going to be full of confidence, head full of steam. You got the experience, you got the talent, like I said. I'm taking the Rams as well. Good for Stafford. Good for Sean McVay.
All right, the Rams, in our opinion, are going to be the Super Bowl champions, the world champions of football, as we like to say, which is, I guess, true because there's no country that plays football at that level.
Yeah.